August 4th, 1914, a suffocating silence hung over London as night fell across the capital of the world's largest empire. Inside Downing Street and Whitehall, the air was thick with tension. The British government had delivered a strict, uncompromising ultimatum to Berlin: halt the invasion of neutral Belgium and withdraw all forces, or face a state of war. The deadline was set for midnight German time, which meant 11 p.m. in London. As the hands of the clock ticked closer to the fateful hour, thousands of anxious citizens gathered outside Buckingham Palace and Parliament, waiting in hushed anticipation. In Berlin, the British ambassador made one final frantic diplomatic visit, but the German High Command refused to halt their massive military machine. The deadline passed without a response. At precisely 11 p.m., Great Britain officially declared war on Imperial Germany. Instantly, the machinery of the British Expeditionary Force was set into motion. Prime Minister H.H. Asquith and his cabinet knew that the world they once inhabited had just shattered. By committing the global resources of the British Empire to the continent, a regional European crisis was officially transformed into a truly global struggle, a war of unprecedented proportions.
Why did Great Britain, a nation that had spent decades avoiding entanglements in continental European conflicts, suddenly decide to plunge into the abyss? To understand this historic decision, we must analyze the profound legal and strategic necessities that drove British intervention. At the core of the crisis was the Treaty of London, signed way back in 1839. This international agreement legally guaranteed the perpetual neutrality and independence of Belgium. For nearly a century, this treaty was a cornerstone of European stability. Yet when the German army marched into Belgium to execute their Schlieffen Plan, the German chancellor dismissively laughed off the treaty as a mere scrap of paper. But for Great Britain, it was far more than a piece of paper. It was a matter of national honor and vital geopolitical survival. Politically, Britain could not allow a hostile, aggressive superpower like Imperial Germany to conquer Belgium and control the strategic English Channel ports. If the Belgian coastline fell into German hands, the British Isles would be directly vulnerable to invasion, and the Royal Navy's supremacy would be fundamentally threatened. Through intense parliamentary debates, British statesmen realized that ignoring the invasion would not only destroy Britain's moral standing on the world stage, but would also leave the nation completely isolated against a dominant German empire. The brutal violation of Belgium left Britain with absolutely no choice but to fight.
The moment Britain's declaration of war was finalized, the entire geopolitical landscape of the planet shifted overnight. This was no longer just a war between European nations. It instantly became a conflict that spanned oceans and continents, triggering a massive, unprecedented global mobilization. In 1914, Great Britain sat at the center of an empire that ruled over nearly a quarter of the world's population and landmass. Legally, when the King of Great Britain declared war, the entire British Empire was automatically at war as well. From the snow-covered plains of Canada to the sun-drenched coasts of Australia and New Zealand, the call to arms echoed instantly. In India, hundreds of thousands of volunteer soldiers began preparing to ship out to theaters of war across Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. From South Africa to parts of the Caribbean, resources, finances, and manpower were rapidly requisitioned to support the war effort. This immense imperial mobilization irrevocably changed the very nature of human conflict. It brought together an incredibly diverse array of cultures, languages, and peoples into a singular military effort. The battlefields of France and Flanders would soon be filled with soldiers from every corner of the earth, proving that the events of August 4th had truly ignited the first global conflagration in human history. August 4th, 1914 was the final, tragic seal on the total collapse of 19th century peace. For nearly 100 years, Europe had enjoyed an era of relative stability, economic growth, and scientific progress. That optimism evaporated in a single day, replaced by a sudden, terrifying psychological shift across the entire continent. As the British Expeditionary Force boarded ships to cross the English Channel, the initial mood in many cities was a mixture of patriotic fervor and naive excitement. Many believed the famous tragic lie that the war would be over by Christmas. But the leaders and military planners knew a far darker truth. They understood that the Industrial Revolution had created weapons of mass destruction, machine guns, heavy artillery, and chemical agents that had never been tested on this scale before.
Britain's entry into the war on August 4th was the final devastating domino in the sequence of events that shattered the old world and violently birthed the modern era. It set off a chain reaction that would result in the loss of 20 million lives, the collapse of 4 great empires, and a complete reshaping of global politics that we still feel today. As we look back at the frantic diplomacy, the broken treaties, and the midnight declarations of that fateful August, we are forced to confront profound questions about the nature of power and international law. How do you assess the moral obligation of great empires in maintaining and defending regional neutrality? Was Britain's intervention a noble and necessary defense of international law, or was it an inevitable clash of empires that used a treaty as a convenient excuse for war? We want to hear your perspective on this monumental turning point. Please share your thoughts, theories, and analysis in the comment section below. If you found this detailed exploration of the outbreak of World War I valuable, please hit the like button, share this video with anyone who loves history, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. By subscribing, you'll join our community for more deep dives into the powerful stories, hidden political moves, and world-changing conflicts that have defined human history. Thank you so much for watching. Keep questioning the past, and we will see you in the next chapter of history.